Hey there, Deep Inspiration up here. So I've set up my Sophon node on my VPS for some time now, and I've been rocking a good 100% uptime, which means that everything was successful. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to also walk you through a step-by-step process on how you can also set up your Sophon Guardian node on the VPS server. So those who are on my Discord server are pretty happy now because I did set up this node with a 0% commission, and all the delegations that you see are those on my Discord server. So if you want to join my Discord server and enjoy such opportunities like these, I'm going to put an invite link in the description section. So before I proceed, I want to have one disclaimer that you can only set up this node if you do own a Sophon Guardian node NFT. If you do not own a Guardian node NFT, you wouldn't be able to set up this node because the node sale already ended a few months ago. So the Sophon team has a very good documentation with respect to how you can set up these nodes on a Linux operating system. What I have also done, as always, is I have also provided a detailed guide on my Medium post with all the commands that we're going to be using today to set up the node. So my Medium post is not supposed to replace this original Sophon docs, it's just to supplement what is already out there. So every command that we're going to use here is going to be a copy paste. If you've never worked with a VPS before, if you've never worked with Linux before, do not get worried. My tutorials are always beginner friendly to walk you through every single step. All you have to do is to just do copy paste of the commands that I'm going to provide you, because I have provided all these commands readily available in my Medium post. So as always, the first thing that we're going to have to do is look at what the minimum hardware requirements are to set up the Sophon Guardian Light node. So as you can see in the Sophon docs, the system requirements are luckily pretty low. So the minimum requirement is 512 MB of RAM and 2 CPU cores, and here you can use an x86 or AMD processor. What is however recommended is 1 GB of RAM and 4 CPU cores. So these are the key things that you have to take note of when looking for a VPS server. So I work with a lot of VPS server because I set up a lot of nodes, and typically the best that I find in terms of hardware specification and uptime is Contabo. So they do have very affordable VPS servers that you can use to set up your nodes. So for instance, if you go with a cloud VPS 1 option, you're going to get 4 CPU cores, 6 GB of RAM, and 400 GB of SSD or 100 GB of NVMe, which is way more sufficient to run the node. If you remember the requirements, we needed 1 GB of RAM and 4 CPU cores. And here we have 4 CPU cores and 6 times more RAM than we need. So this is going to be more than sufficient to run the node. You do not need to go for the cloud VPS 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options, because this is too much for the node that we want to set up. Now, if you want to proceed with Contabo, I'm going to have my referral link in the description section. And as always, I'll be extremely happy if you sign up using my referral link. So I'm going to walk you through the order process. If you click on my referral link in the description section, it's going to bring you to this page here. Now, in this section, you see the specifications of the VPS server that we selected. Here, you select the duration with which you want to run the VPS. So typically, the longer the subscription, the cheaper it gets. But here, if you're not very sure if you want to go with the VPS option, my recommendation is always just to go for 1 month. If you end up seeing that the VPS option is overwhelming, then you can basically cancel your subscription and move your VPS to a NAS provider. So here, for instance, if the VPS setup gets complicated for you, I would recommend that you delegate your node to NodeOps. They do have a very stable system, and their prices are also quite affordable. So here, just choose the duration which you want to run the node for. For the region, just leave this to European Union. You do not need to go for the other options here, because if you choose other location, you're always going to pay an extra fee. As you can see here, European Union typically means that your VPS is going to be in Germany, but this has absolutely nothing to do with the uptime. As you can see here, the best latency is actually in the European Union. So you can just leave this as European Union. And when you come down here, you can choose either 400 GB of SSD, or you can go with the 100 NVMe. For the Sophon node, the SSD is way more than sufficient. So my recommendation would be, why not just go with the SSD and get more disk space than going for the 100 NVMe. Now, when you scroll down here, you can choose the operating system that you want to use. So you can either choose between Ubuntu 22.04 or Ubuntu 24.04. Typically, I go with the 22.04, but the 24.04 would also work. So here it's very important, make sure that you select the Ubuntu operating system. Now, when you scroll down here, this is where you're going to put in the credentials to log on onto the VPS server. So with Contabo, the username is always root. The password, you can put in whatever password that you want to use. Please make sure that you do not forget this password, because if you forget a password, you would have to reset your password to be able to get access to the VPS server. So just put in a password here and make sure that this is a password that you're going to remember. Now, beyond step 5, so steps 6, 7, 8, you do not need to change anything. Just leave this as a default. Click on next, make the payment, and we're going to continue with the next steps. So after placing the order from Contabo, within a few minutes or sometimes hours, you're going to get an email like this that would contain the credentials of your VPS server. So the most important thing that you're going to receive from this mail is the IP address. So my text is in German, but its layout is going to look exactly the same irrespective of where you are. So that what you're going to need is the IP address of your VPS server, which is going to be in this section here. And then here, Benutzername basically means username. So your username with Contabo is always going to be root, and the password they're not going to show you anyway. The password is going to be the password that you put in when you were setting up the VPS server. So the only two things that we're going to need from the email is the IP address of the VPS server and the username, which is always going to be root. Now, to connect to the VPS server, there are tons of applications out there that you can use. If you are using Windows operating system, for instance, Windows has an inbuilt application that is called Windows PowerShell. I'm going to show you how this works. If you are using Mac operating system, Mac also has an inbuilt application that is called Terminal. If you want to have a dedicated application that could, for instance, save the credentials of your VPS server, you could also use Putty. So Putty is a free application that you can download, and I really like it because it makes it a bit easier to be able to manage VPSs, and of course it's completely free, so you do not need to worry about paying anything. So here I'm going to put the link to download Putty in the description section. When you come here, depending on the operating system that you have, just select which one would fit your processor, download the application, install the application, and I'm going to teach you how you can connect to the VPS server using Putty and also using Windows PowerShell if you do not want to download a secondary application. So this is how the Putty application looks. If you want to connect to your VPS server, just click in this section that is called hostname and type in root. So root is going to be the username that we got from the email that we received from Contabo, and then type in the IP address of your VPS server. So with respect to the port, you do not need to change anything. You can leave everything as the same. Connection type is going to be SSH. Everything is going to remain as the default, and just click on open. Now, if this is the first time that you connect into the VPS server, Putty is going to ask you if you are sure you want to make this connection. If you're pretty sure you're connecting to the right server, just click on accept. And then now Putty is going to ask you for the password of the VPS server. So here, when you're typing in the password into Putty, you do not see whatever you are typing because it's a password. So when you finish typing the password, just press enter. My tip is always that if you have a very complicated password, just type the password somewhere in a secured location, copy the password, come into the Putty application, right click in the application. So whenever you right click in Putty, it pastes whatever you have in the clipboard. So currently you can see that the password is pasted, but you do not see this. And then just press enter. And then you can see that I'm connected to my Contabo VPS server. If you do not want to use the external application like Putty, I'm also going to show you how you can connect to the VPS server using an inbuilt application from Windows called PowerShell. If you're using a Mac operating system, the steps to connect to the VPS server is going to be the same whether you're using the Windows PowerShell or whether you're using the terminal application from Mac OS. So here, just click on your start menu and search for the application that is called Windows PowerShell. Now with Windows PowerShell, if you want to connect to the VPS server, there are a few more commands that you're going to use, but don't worry, it's nothing complicated. Just type in SSH space and then type in root. So root is the username of the VPS server, and then type @ and then you're going to paste in the IP address of your VPS server. Also in PowerShell, when you right click, it basically puts whatever that you have in the clipboard. So if you type SSH space root at the IP address of VPS server, after that just press enter. And then here as well, just like we had with Putty, if this is the first time you connect into the VPS server, Windows PowerShell is going to ask you if you are sure you want to add this fingerprint. So if you're sure everything is fine, just type in yes and then press enter. And in the next stage, we're going to have to type in the password of the VPS server. So here as well, just like we had in Putty, if you're typing the password, you wouldn't see this. So if it's complicated, just copy the password somewhere, copy the password, come into the console, right click into the console. It's going to put whatever you have in the clipboard and just press enter. And as you can see here, on the left side using Windows PowerShell, I'm connected to the VPS server, and on the right side using Putty, I'm also connected to the VPS server. So personally, I have a personal favorite application that I use, which is called Temias, because I manage a lot of VPS servers, and this application saves the credentials of my VPS server. And it's also available on Android, so it makes it a bit easy for me to manage the VPS server. But the tutorial is going to be the same whether you're using Temias, Windows PowerShell, or Putty. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect to the VPS server, and we're going to start with the installation of the Sophon node. So like I said, everything that we're going to do here, I have already outlined in my Medium post. So all you have to do is to just do a copy paste and basically you'll be good to go. But I'm going to walk you through everything. Now the first thing that we're going to do is to update and upgrade our Ubuntu system. So to do so, just copy the command that we have here, come into the console, right click to paste the command and just press enter. Okay, so everything is done. The system is updated. In the next stage, what we're going to do is we're going to install Docker. So the Sophon node runs on Docker, and that's why we're going to have to install Docker before we can run the node. Now here as well, I have provided the commands that you're going to need. Just copy this command here to install Docker, come into the console, right click the command and just press enter. And what this is going to do is that it's basically going to install Docker for you. Now here, you're going to have to accept that you want to install Docker, as you can see here, by pressing Y or N. So to install Docker, I'm just going to press Y for yes, and I'm going to press enter. Okay, so now Docker is installed. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to start Docker and also enable the Docker that we just installed. Now to do so, just copy this command that we have here, come into the console, right click, and then just press enter. So Docker has started, Docker has been enabled. So everything that we did till now was basically preparing the environment that we need to run the Docker, preparing the environment that we need to run the Sophon node. What we're going to do now is we're going to pull the Sophon Light Node Docker image. Now to do so, just copy the command that we have here and just paste in the command into the console and press enter. So this is going to download the Sophon Light Node image, and then we can basically start with the setup of the node. So now you can see that everything is done. We have pulled all the parts that we needed to run the Sophon node. Now, this is the most important part of the whole tutorial, and this is where a lot of people, at least from what I've read from the Sophon community and also from my community, get confused. Now, this is the command that you're going to need to start the Sophon node. The only thing that we're going to have to put in here is the operator wallet address. Let me make this a bit bigger just so that you understand. So the operator wallet address is a wallet address that you're going to need to delegate your NFT to this node that we are setting up. The destination address is going to be the address that is going to receive rewards should someone delegate their Sophon Light Node NFT to yours. The operator wallet address and the destination wallet address doesn't necessarily have to be the same. So what I typically do is that for the operator wallet, I just generate a random burner wallet address. I'm going to show you how you can do this. And then for the destination address, I am currently using the wallet address that contains my Sophon node NFT. And then here for the commission rate, you're going to put a percentage of rewards you want to take from whoever delegates their Sophon Guardian node NFT to your node. Now you do not need to change anything beyond that. So the only things that you're going to have to change is the operator wallet address, the destination wallet address, and the commission rate. And as you can see here, I have put an example of how this should look. So this is, for instance, an operator wallet address. This is the reward wallet address. This is the percentage for anyone who delegates their node to me. And in the last aspect, you're going to need the IP address of your VPS server, which is going to go here. You also need to have port 7007, but for instance, if you're using Contable, all the ports are open, so you do not have to worry about that. Now, I also provided an example of how this should look here. If you are getting confused, you can just look at how I did this here and just replace the fields that I have here with the right fields that you want to use. Now to generate a random wallet address, you can either just generate a random EVM wallet address with MetaMask or whatever wallet that you're using. What I typically do is that there's a random burner wallet address generator. So I'm also going to put this page in the description section. When you come here, just click on by random, and then how many mnemonic words, just use 12. Address numbers, just click 1, and then click on create. So this is going to generate a random address for you that you can use for the delegation. You can also download this wallet to have access to the private key and also the address. But what we're going to need here is only the address, but you can also save the private key if you want to have access to this wallet later. So this is ready. I'm going to go back to the Sophon guide and I'm going to copy the command that we're going to need. I'm going to right click this. I'm going to click on copy, and then I'm going to paste this in Notepad. So I have pasted a command here. What we're going to do now is to replace the fields. So here for the operator wallet address, like I said, I'm going to use the random balance wallet address. I'm just going to click on copy here. I'm going to come to this field here. Please be careful that you don't even leave a space in between. So just highlight exactly where I have operator wallet address and then paste in the burner wallet address that we just created. And then for the destination wallet address, I'm going to put in the wallet address that I want to use to receive the commissions if anyone delegates their node to mine. So I'm going to put in the address. And then here for the commission rate, I'm going to set this to 3, just for an example. So this means that I'm taking 3% commission from anyone who delegates their NFT to my node. And then here, very important, we're going to put in the IP address of your VPS server. So I'm going to paste in the IP address of my VPS server, and then technically we're good to go. If you're confused, just look at the example that I have here and make sure that your commands looks similar to mine. Sometimes depending on what text editor you are using, sometimes they do this autocorrect and basically mess up the command, and that's why I use Notepad, because it basically keeps the format. It doesn't change anything in the command. I had a lot of headaches working with this command because I sometimes had one more space that I needed it to be and it wasn't working and stuff like that. That's why please, this is the most important part of the whole setup. So now I have this ready. I'm going to copy this command here. I'm going to go back into my console. I'm going to paste the command by just right clicking. But before I press enter, there's one more thing that I'm going to do. I want us to monitor the logs for us to be able to see if the node is running. So just come to the step 7 and just make sure that you have this command ready so that we can immediately go into the logs and see what is happening to the node that we are just setting up. So now everything is ready. I'm going to come here and I'm going to press enter, and then you see that the node is running. So when I run docker ps to list the Docker containers, you see that my Sophon Guardian node is running. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the Docker logs and I'm going to look at the logs of this node that we just set up. So just use the command that I have here. So I'm going to monitor this aspect, and then if the node is registering, typically you would see something in the logs that the node is being registered. Exactly, so this is what I was waiting for. So you can see registering node. This goes very fast, but you can see that the node is currently registered with Sophon, and this is the confirmation that I was waiting for to be sure that the node is up and running. You do not need to wait to see this confirmation, but like I like to see this to make sure that everything was working correctly before I proceed to the Sophon dashboard to delegate the node. If you want to leave the logs, just press Ctrl+C, and this is going to create the logs. It doesn't stop the node from running, it just closes this logs page. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to go to the Sophon dashboard. We're going to delegate our Sophon Guardian node NFT to this node that we just set up. Now to do so, remember we're going to need the burner wallet address. So I'm just going to go to the Notepad and I'm going to copy this burner wallet address. So this is the same wallet that we just created from the random EVM wallet generator. Now very important, please do not come with the idea of delegating your NFT to this wallet address. I'm going to delete this immediately the tutorial is over, so don't even waste your time to try to delegate to it. So now on the Sophon dashboard, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on connect to start. I'm going to connect to the wallet that contains my Guardian node NFT, and then currently you see that my NFT is delegated, so I'll have to undelegate this before I can delegate it to a new node. I'm going to remove the delegation, and the beauty about Sophon, if the Sophon guys are listening to me, this is really nice that you don't have to pay any gas fees for the delegation. This is really a breeze. I'm just going to remove the delegation just to get my NFT free so that I can delegate to the new node that we just set up. So now the delegation was successful, and I'm going to basically start with a delegation. So here I'm just going to click on next, and then I'm going to go to I already have a running node operator address because we already have this. I'm going to click on next, and then here you're going to put in the burner wallet address. Just to reiterate, the burner wallet address that we're going to put here is the operator wallet address that we put in when we were setting up. Copy this, I'm going to paste this in here, and then you see a check mark, which means that the node is up and running. So here you put in the number of NFTs that you want to delegate to the nodes. I'm going to put in 2 here because you can see that I have 2 NFTs that I can delegate to this address, and just click on delegate now. And like I said, the beauty, you don't have to pay anything for gas fees. So I'm going to confirm this, and then delegation is completed. You can see this guy happily dancing around, and then when I come here as well, you see that my node is delegated. Uptime is 100% because I just set it up, but it's very important that you monitor this periodically to make sure that your node is up and running. And here's where you can see I set up a 3% commission, and that is what you also see here. So basically that's it here. The node is running. When I type docker ps, it would list the containers that are running, and here you can see that the Guardian node is set up and up and running. One more tip that I'm going to give to you, add 2 more commands. Now if for any reason you are having difficulty, your node is not working or something like that, or you made a mistake and you want to restart the command, maybe you made a mistake in the command that we did here. I'm going to scroll down here. You made a mistake here and your node is not working correctly. If you also set up the node, and after setup, it happened to me, you see that there's a spinning circle around here, then it means that something was not correct with the node setup. So whenever you see anything spinning around here, it means that the node setup wasn't done correctly. And for instance, if you want to restart everything again, what you can do is to basically stop the light node. So just use this command here to stop the node. I can just do this to demonstrate how this is to you. Just copy this command here, come here, stop, click stop. This is going to stop the Docker container that is running the node, and then still when I type docker ps, you see that the node is not here anymore. What I would also recommend is that you can also remove the container completely by using docker rm Sophon Light Node. You see that the Docker container is also removed, and then after this, if you want, you can restart your node by using the same command that we used when we were setting up the node. Go to undo. I can copy this command here, just paste in the command, and your node will be up and running. So I'm going to put in the command again here. I'm going to press enter, and then my Docker container is up and running. My Sophon node is up and running. So if you do have any difficulty, it happened to me several times that, like I said, my text editor put in some space somewhere and then the node was not up and running. I had to stop that container. I had to remove the container and basically restart. And then that's basically how you want to do this. So these two commands are the two commands that you're going to need to do that. So this is going to stop the Docker container, and this is going to also remove the container so that you can start afresh. So basically, folks, that's it about how to set up the Sophon Guardian node on a Linux VPS. If you do have any difficulty or any questions with respect to the setup, you can put it in the comment section and I'm very happy to help you out. Alternatively, you can also join my Discord server. I'm there most of the time. Together with the community, we'll try our best to help you out in sorting out the issue or the difficulty that you're going to have. If you found the video to be helpful, please hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment in the description section for me to know that this was successful. And with that, I say thanks for watching this video and see you in the next one. Bye.